All right, all right, all right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Once again, this is Coach Les and Sujata Against All Odds, the live podcast. And just to give you a quick, before I introduce Sujata, I'm going to read a little bit more than she'll say, just because she's always short on words. So I'm going to read something so you get an idea of who she is and who you're listening to. Sujata has accumulated a wealth of experiences during her life, leading to insights and knowledge that cannot be coached or taught in a class. She is a mother, a wife, a journalist, a consultant, an activist, a leader, and a businesswoman domestically and internationally. In sharing her story against all odds, Sujata strives to provide readers of all backgrounds in any part of the world with real life examples on how to deal with the unpredictable nature of everyday life. And she and I have teamed up to create and share this podcast with you. And the whole idea of this podcast was to look today how to be a friend. What's the meaning of friendship? Are you a good friend? And what are some of the fundamentals of friendship? So today we're going to dive into the deep and dirty, because some people's idea of friendship is not what other people expect. And a lot of times friendship ends up sometimes being extremely one-sided. So how do we level that up? And we're here for the next 55 minutes live. And our intention is to share a few ideas from here up on stage, and then invite some of you in the audience to participate wherever you're coming from. Some of you, it might be from Facebook, it might be from LinkedIn, it might be from YouTube or Twitter, and it might also be from here on Clubhouse, where we're also sharing, as you can see. So when Sujata speaks, you won't see her mic come off. At least in the beginning, you'll hear her as we dive in through the podcast, and she speaks through the loudspeakers as if she's speaking here sitting next to me, which she is in the picture. So welcome, Sujata. I'd love to hear a few words from you, just to say hi and tell us, how did you come up with that topic? Like what, because I know you typed it in originally. I just cut and pasted. So why did you come up with that topic, and what is your hope for us to delve into today?
I am generally short on words when it comes to describing myself. So that's when I'm short of words. Otherwise, I'm not really short on words. Yes, I speak a little less, but I think I try to say more in a few words, if I may put it across. As for the topic, uh, actually, you are the one who came up with the idea. And I just loved it. And then I just put it, cut, paste, copy the description there on Clubhouse. But when we were having a conversation, it's you who gave me the idea, and I just loved it because it so resonates with what I say.
Awesome. Well, I think part of it is, for me, is so many times my experience with friendship has been one of varying degrees of what I call fair weather friends,
Yeah.
or or intense friendships where they are there through thick or thin. And then there's also the part of a friendship, to me, of who picks up the phone and calls who. Because it always seems to be, to me, a very interesting experience of what is the friendship composed of, what are people looking to get out of the friendship, quote unquote, and how do people see the friendship growing, and what are they willing to put into the friendship to cause it to grow. Does that communicate, Sujata?
Yes, it does. And Most often, it is, I think, somewhere caught in between the fair weather friends. So the ones who are really there are very few. If you're lucky and blessed to have them in your life, and a lot of people look at friendships as transactions, and that's not really always true to the essence of the matter, because it may be that you may want to be there and you're not able to fulfill the need which the friend might have. Doesn't mean that you're not a friend. You can be there in so many ways, and it's not always a financial transaction, which sometimes, or in most often in relationships, it comes down to that aspect, and then there goes the friendship or the relationship out of the window. So yeah, those are my thoughts for the moment.
All right, and I'm going to ask because we got a couple people up on stage. Paidlin, what are your thoughts about friendship?
Well, I was actually reading John Maxwell's book on connecting. Everyone communicates, few connect, and I think that even in friendship, we need to learn the art of connecting with, like relating to our friends and connecting with them.
What are some of the things that you, Paitlin, put people like? What are some of the discerning ways that you filter your friends?
I've never had anyone ask me that before. That's a good question.
All right, chalk one up for Coach Les. Ching. So, do you have an answer for it, Caitlin, Phelan, or are you gonna just put me on mute?
No, I don't really have one at this time. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, we'll come around to it. All right. Well, so for me, I think the question then now comes to what is friendship? What does being a friend look like in the different stages? One, meeting somebody. Two, um, getting to know them. And what categories of friends may you have out there? Like, do you have work friends? Do you have social media friends? What does it mean? I mean, I'm connected to, and in theory have close to 5,000 Facebook friends. Some of them I've never met, and I am the first one to admit that. I've met them online. They've connected with me online. Why? Because somebody suddenly said, "Guess what? There's an opportunity to get to know some people here, this group, join this group and get to know them." So, as we look at this question today, and I will put it in the room chat in just a second here. Um, Sujata, what are some of the steps for you in friendship?
Firstly, all these pardon all the people on social media listening to me on this topic, but I have to be myself. Um, Friendship, which is there on social media in large numbers, I don't describe them as friends, because for me a friend has to be there for me when I'm alone, when I'm in a situation, when I need to speak to somebody, share something, in my vulnerable moments, in my joyous moments. Who do I talk to? Who do I share? That is the person who's my friend. A friend who will, if they don't hear from me if suppose I'm consistently there and they don't hear from me in 3 days, they would pick up the phone and talk and say, is everything okay? I do that with all my friends, and some people do that with me. Those are my friends, not the ones who are present and are shown online green, may type in a chat or may not even type and may not even respond because they are just there. I'm also there on some part of the globe. But we don't talk to each other. We don't really know what's happening with the other person. What are the challenges they're facing in life? Are they happy, sad, or anything going on in their lives? Those are not friends as far as I'm concerned. I know, Coach Les, that if you don't hear from me or if I don't hear from you, uh, we will reach out and say everything okay. It just takes maybe 2 words, but we will do that. It may be that we are just busy in something and not, may have got not in the same routine of calling or talking every day. But if 3 days pass by and we have not heard from each other, we will just ask those 2 words, everything okay. I have a few of them, but I can't say they're in large numbers. The number is there, but how many people call you up and who are the ones who call you up is key, as you rightly said in the beginning. Who picks up the phone and talks to you? Even if you don't do a voice call, you can always chat and ask. But all these friends on social media, they don't even exchange numbers for you to make that call. Then how can you be my friend? I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Though
No,
I'm saying I'm not apologetic actually.
yeah, I think that this is hi Eliona, hi John, hi Byron, hi Muplang, hi Jessica. Come on up and join the conversation, guys, if you have the space and the time. We are looking at this question of, and let me say it. I thought you know what? I thought I copied it and put it somewhere. Hold on 1 second here. See if it's still in my copy. Nope. How to be a friend. What's the meaning of friendship? Are you a good friend? And let's explore the fundamentals of friendship. So that's what we're questioning about today, and we're looking at. That's that's there, and I'm just gonna do my best to now cut and paste it and put it into the back in the room chat so that it's there. But I'd love to hear, and I see we just had an opportunity for somebody coming up on stage, and I think it's Eliona. Hi, Eliona. How are you?
Hi, long time ago. How are you?
I am doing absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so excited to have you on the stage because this is going to be a fun question. And let me see, I can put it back here. There it is. How to be a friend. What's the meaning of friendship? Are you a good friend? And let's explore the fundamentals. Hi, Jessica. So great to see you. Thank you so much. She's like, this is a wonderful topic. Well, come on up and join us. I know you may be working. I understand. Not everybody can come up on stage. Hey, there's Joey with his NFT. So, Eliona, what is your thoughts about friendship, and how? I'm just going to let you answer the myriad of questions.
Well, let me answer with this very simple way. How to be a friend? First of all, how to be a friend? Just by asking, can I be your friend? Really, with this simplicity. And what's the meaning of friendship? Friendship, when you find someone that completes you in a certain point. And am I a good friend? Well, I don't know. I cannot say that. My friends will say it. But I want to say that I will never let a friend to go. Never in my life. I have friends until now. I have friends since I was a kid. I never let anybody go, because I believe that anybody, even if he's horrible in some points that I cannot communicate with him in these points, but there's very bright points that we can share together. So that's why I never let a friend in whole my life. That's my opinion.
I love it. And what is your view on what Sujata was saying about social media friends?
I just came. I didn't hear him.
Okay, so Sujata was saying earlier, she made a comment about that social media friends are not really friends, they're just kind of connections.
No, I don't agree. Sorry if it's against what he said, but I don't believe it. Everybody has a bright thing in his character. If I'm smart enough, I can find out this point and we can share it together, despite all the other things that might be disturbing for me.
Okay, there you go, Sujata.
Sorry, Sujata, if it's opposite what you've said, I didn't hear you.
No, not at all. We are here, to have differing views on this podcast. And I think that what you said about your views on friendship as you, that I would like to say that you're a blessing if you have left no one behind and have been there for them since childhood, then that's a rarity. As far as social media connections versus friendships, then I still stick to it because they are connections. When I have been in a challenge, there's been nobody, no social media friends, no ground friends, no nobody. So I speak from experience. Maybe my experience is what I choose to speak on. However, I've seen that happen all the time, all through my life with so many various people. When people are betrayed, they are mostly betrayed by their friends who they counted on for 30 years, 20 years. And then when the time came and they needed them the most, or they needed them in a challenging situation, they turn around and find that they invested in a relationship which was actually a lie. This topic actually is very, very interesting because every time that we talk on it, interesting thoughts and perspectives come up. In the last one that we had, there were many shares on this very matter, that how they were betrayed in life by the people they thought they were friends. So I rest my case. It's not nothing about right and wrong. It's just about what experiences you have had on this matter.
Go ahead, Eliona.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes I was shocked with some friends, but I've tried my best to overcome this by trying to talk and to find the similarity points together, and trying to avoid this hard time that I had with them, by acting in a surprisingly way with me. So I try to keep the friendship as much as I can. But of course, I wasn't able 100% to do this. Of course, very, very few friends, I've lost communication with them, but it's not like lost the friendship completely, because I try every now and then communicating and finding any excuse to find any communication with them.
It takes two to tango, and so don't always be harsh on yourself, because if you have made the efforts and the person doesn't come forward, then you can't be held responsible for the other person. And if your intention is right and your heart is right, then if it's not reciprocated, then that's not your problem, right? At the end of the day, there might be heartbreak, there might be sadness. That's the way it is, because in any relationship, and especially friendship, it has to be a two-way street. I mean, you can be there a one-way street for maybe 40%, 60%, 80% of the journey, but at some stage, you have to sometimes walk away.
Yeah, sometimes I have to walk away because when I feel I'm really started to be harmed. But for me, for my personality, I find it hard to lose a friend. I'm always doing my best because it's hard for me. And also because I feel I'm not perfect also. To judge the people in front of me that you have treated me badly. So that's why I don't go after that, that person is horrible. I mean, I try my best to keep those friends. Of course, sometimes I have to go away, but I don't see myself much better than them. We are all not perfect.
Of course, none of us are perfect, and that's the thing, that we don't try to judge. In friendship, we accept each other as we are, and if we can be there for each other, that's all. It's so simple. Can you be there for me always? And if you can't, and if you don't, if you're not my friend, where you don't wish me well all the time, and you harbor negative things, then that's not a friendship. That's what I'm saying. From your side, you've done your bit, and so you need to walk away, however painful it is.
I'm going to say that I'm perfectly imperfect.
That's right.
I love that.
So that it's the only place I'm perfect.
It's perfect. What you've said is perfect, really. I really like it.
And I love this conversation of friendship for many reasons. One, I continue to learn what other people say is friendship, what other people judge and assess is friendship. For me, my mother, my stepmother, I called her my mother. My stepmother was a very, I would call her an upper class, middle class English woman. There's a show that here in the United States called Faulty Towers, and Frida was my stepmother's name, epitomized the people on Faulty Towers. Very, very, everything, no elbows on the table. Don't talk with your mouth full. Do all of the things that etiquette expected of you. Be chivalrous, but not slimy. And treat a lady with respect, not in a way that has her feel you're looking down on her, but looking as an equal and being chivalrous in the aspect of opening doors, being polite, letting ladies go first, etc., etc. And she was always saying, when we'd have conversations and I'd be talking about my quote unquote friends, she would say, sounds to me like they're more of an acquaintance, not a friend. And so she distinguished it very powerfully. She often said, Les, and she actually called me Leslie when she was being serious and informative. She would say, Leslie, when you die, if you have one true friend, that is a gift from God. And there will be many along the way that will come in and out of friendship. And I look at that piece of information and that piece of advice, and I think it was brilliant, and I didn't understand it when she first gave it to me. Now I have full cognizance of exactly what she's talking about. It's the people that are, hey, how are you? How are things going? Great. Awesome. Yeah, we're going to have to get together for coffee. We're going to have to get together for a cup of tea. And, let's connect. And then they walk away. And I'm looking and I hear that. And every time that happens, I go, are you even going to look at your schedule? You just led me up the primrose path and then had me walk in a poop pile at the very end of the path. And then you took off because it was smelly. And I think there's so much to be said for what is the etiquette of friendship? What does it look like, really? And with that, I pass the mic over to Byron. Come on and jump in, Mr. Byron.
What's going on, Les?
How are you, sir?
Good. Maybe one day I can call you my friend.
Well, I would appreciate that and honor that. And I do believe that we are building a friendship.
Yeah, very, very well said. I think that's kind of how it works, right? Like, I think for me, like, really, truthfully, friendship is, you got to have that with yourself. You got to really understand the transition, the timeline, things like that people go through internally, and find that connection point, to understand how friendship, value is a valuable thing, inside and outside of us, really, because you guys said it all, really. Most things are acquaintances and connection points, because our lives continue and not everybody's lives are identical. But from my past, I lived in and out of other people's homes my whole life, and always putting myself in that kind of acquaintance understanding because I knew, it was temporary. But what I found really with friendships that have lasted over the years, the people, and when I say that, what I mean is people that you can come back into over an extended period of time of being out of their presence or out of communication with them. And you can literally pick up right back to where you were when you were in those kind of, moments of interacting with them on a daily basis, or, having that kind of like-mindedness or purpose, very similar purposes at the time that you spent together. And I noticed that all those people in my life, some of them 20 years later, connect with them, and, it's just immediately, you can feel it. There's no awkwardness. Anything that comes off of your tongue doesn't feel judged, and you don't tend to kind of bias yourself away from anything they say, regardless of what's happening. And I tie that to the things that people have helped me grow, and I've received them, and they saw me change, or vice versa, where I helped them grow. And as time passed, those things really set into the principle of who these people are or who I become. And it becomes a friendship. People understand that value of transformation. But that's kind of where I pull it back to internal. If I wouldn't portray, or if that person didn't portray over that time a change, I think it's just kind of a ebb and flow thing. There's too many paths in people's lives to really kind of make a true friendship for a very long period of time. To, the whole traditional, you grew up in the neighborhood, you got friends for life kind of mindset. But it's the world we live in. I'll say this real quick, Les. I think where friendship lies in today's world, with the internet, I think it just goes back to the valuation of how you perceive friendships and where you've grown up and how you've interacted with people. Because I feel like there's a lot of people that I feel like they're my friends, but the way I value friends and the way that I've been, raised has always been in a temporary fashion. So I know to make those sustainable on the internet, you just got to help people. And when they feel helped, all of a sudden they might have that same concept that you're a friend and extend themselves or reach out, and make that non-awkward moment happen. Because I think friends really can remove awkwardness in a moment's notice. It's just a feeling, because ultimately you understand how to be your own friend and put that energy out. So that's where I would go, Les. I think that's kind of the best kind of vibe I could give it. It's just being your friend, yourself, and understanding that. And when that's progressed into other people's, kind of energy level on their own self, it's like-mindedness, and man, growth happens. So friendship comes to growth.
I you know, I agree. And I think that there's something to be said for how Clubhouse has named following and followers. And you go to Facebook and it's friends. You go to LinkedIn, it's following and connected. And I look at those things and I go, where's the accuracy in that conversation? And I think, when I think about it, I as I said before at the beginning, here I have, I don't know, I'm coming up on 4,900 friends, quote unquote, on Facebook. And as I said at the very beginning of this show, I mean, I might be able to say that I've shook hands and connected with 1,000 of those 5,000 people. And that's being generous. And I look and the others are considered my friend. And I get shaky about that. When I look at, it's like, wow, what does that mean? And what do they interpret that as? Do they interpret that as if they pick up the phone and call and say, hey, can we do lunch, that I'm going to drop everything and do lunch? Some of those people following me are business clients. So are they going to get offended if they call and I don't have the space for it? So that's some of the things that I see, and I appreciate you sharing, Byron. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Brother Joey.
Are we asking what a friend is and how do you define it?
That is, here's what we're asking.
Because I can answer that question.
How to be a friend? What's the meaning of friendship? Are you a good friend? And let's explore the fundamentals. And I hand the mic to you. I heard that groan.
Wait, was that live? Let me interject because when I came in the room, we were talking about friends and acquaintances and who are your friends and so on and so forth and social media. So my middle child may or may not be getting married sometime in the next in the future. I'm not going to say near future. So who are friends? Who are my friends? They're the ones that make the wedding list. I mean, if I had to put it in a category, who are my closest friends, right? So that's my answer. That's not snarky or being silly. I think that was something that my wife and I were discussing, and people that need to be in your life for the special moments. I looked up in the dictionary because I was kind of curious to see how the dictionary gives the definition of friends and friendship and acquaintances, just as a refresher to see what they suggest. Yeah, so I think one of the questions was I a good friend? Is that one of the questions, Coach? Sorry, it's been a long day.
No, yes, it is. The question is here, and I'm just going to say it again because everybody, how to be a friend? What's the meaning of friendship? Are you a good friend? And then let's explore the fundamentals.
Yeah, how to be a good friend. So if we're talking friendships, if we're talking about the definition, according to Webster or Merriam, how to be a good friend, it talks about someone you know, like, and trust was one of the first things that popped up, and someone that you enter into a level of intimacy with. I think how do you be a good friend? How do you describe a good friend? You mentioned the guy or the gal that says, "Hey, how you doing? And let's get coffee," and it never happens. I think being a good friend is you purposely carve out because of your emotional connection, the intimate connection, the deep connection that you have with each other. I think that you carve out that time being a good friend. I'm a huge fan of boundaries. I've learned over the last couple of years, but when the moment is right and you bend your boundary right for that good friend. You edify them. If I say you make them important, what I mean by that is you show that deep interest. I think that's the qualities of a good friend. I think it was Byron that may have just mentioned those relationships, and then when you come back together, it's like not a day passed or something along those lines. My best friend Joey, who lived across the street from me, for all these years when I was on Long Island, I've had an opportunity over the last couple of years just to evaluate our friendship. And we lost contact and everything, and for a while, and we've picked up right where we left off. And I remember being a kid and being his friend. Man, we'd go for hours just sitting there watching TV and not speaking. But I think you define a good friendship. It's almost like a good marriage. And what I say you should do in your marriage, you should never leave your spouse wondering if they're loved. And I think that's the sign of a good friendship. You leave that friend in that space and that mindset that beyond a shadow of a doubt, your relationship is solid. They don't have to question it. If you have to question whether or not you're friends with somebody, chances are, then I would question it. So those are my thoughts. Coach, feel free to ask me any other questions, but those are my thoughts on friendships. And do I consider, look, Coach, we've never met in real life. I've slid you into a category of a friend. The internet has me in Instagram, and there's 13 or 14 or 1,500 followers or friends, whatever we want to call them. I call them fans, but but I think once you move past just liking my photo and we've connected and there's a level of intimacy, there's a caring for each other, we've exchanged phone numbers, we communicate throughout the week. I say that's the beginning process of a friendship. And I'll yield the mic. This is Joey.
Well said, Joey. Very well said. And before I chime in, hi, Ginger. How are you? I'm going to hand the mic to you because I don't want to steal anybody's thunder.
Good evening, or, well, good late afternoon. To my friends up here, and I see I made two new ones, Liliana and Joey, today. It's always so happy to connect with you guys here, and I literally think I manifested this room. I was sitting thinking tonight we're on a podcast at 7 o'clock about breaking the cycle of negativity in our relationships into a room. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to get on Clubhouse. I'm actually I need to use my brain here for a little bit and just jot down some highlights, just something that I want to touch on this evening. And literally, I got a banner from Coach, and it said to join us, that we're going to talk about friendship. So I feel like since you're my new friend, I've been feeling a little bad because you're pinging me into rooms and we were there and we were rolling, and then I just kind of took just a little step back for a little bit. So I hope that you don't hold that against me. So we'll see.
Nope, not at all.
I better go in and show the support, for sure. So very interesting topic, I have to say. We've been ruminating on this for a few weeks with our group here, and we just started this group, and it's been really educational, and it really causes you to go deep down inside. And when you think about what is a friend, what is a true friend, and the thing that I'm taking away from most of it, I mean, there's been a lot of bumps in the road with a few of my friends, but I used to have a whole tribe, a whole group, and sometimes, things just don't click. And I'm finding out that there's really two pretty critical dimensions in that. You've got your voluntary participation in it, and then there's the interdependence. And if someone had said, if you're not, I think it was Joey, if you're not friends with yourself and accept yourself first, how can you be a friend to someone else? So you've got to love yourself and be friends with yourself. And I'm just now kind of in a place where I'm learning that. And it's really remarkable because I've got this one friend that we've had a mutual interest in years. We've been friends for about 12 years. And we've always had this sense of belongingness and connection with us, with each other. But there's something pretty traumatic happened in my life, and I had to take a detour for about 7 years. And that's a pretty long time to not connect with a so-called friend. And after the time passed, I connected with her again, and I approached her and I said, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I didn't realize at the time how important, how emotional and instrumental your support was to me at that time. And then I left. And she didn't even let me finish my apology. She stopped me and she said this. She said, Ginger, we've been friends for a long time. And what makes friends is one person can be gone for a long time. And when that person comes back around, we can sit down, have our cup of tea, and talk as if there's never been any years distance between us at all. And to me, that just solidified what an awesome person that she is and how thankful I am that she's in my life. So to me, that's a friend. I mean, it was just like, boom, But whenever I have any type of difficulty or needing to figure something out, I always go to Snoopy and the Peanuts. I mean, if you look, Snoopy and Charlie Brown, they just exude friendship. And no matter what they've been through, they've always been there together. So I have little stuffed animals of Snoopy, and really they're my sons. Okay, I'm just adding my disclaimer out there. But no, they're really mine. They're mine. I have a few that sit by my computer because, there's a quote by Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and it's this: friendship is not about who you've known for how long you've known them. It's about who came, who stayed by your side, and never left them when you needed them the most. And that is so powerful to me because the one friend that I have is Jesus Christ. And he's always been there for me. And there's times when something traumatic will happen. I'm just going to quote myself, and we might have to take a hiatus and do our thing. But he's always been there for me. So my one true friend is Jesus Christ. And I'm not afraid to say that in public because I want other people to experience the same friendship that I have. And my friend is a Christian, so I choose to hang in my flock with people who are like-minded. And I think that's very important with a friendship. So I'll stop rambling. This is Ginger. Thanks for bringing me up here and being my friend.
Awesome. Sujata, did you want to chime in?
I so resonate with the words that, a friend is who's always there for you. And that's what I always say, that whosoever it is, if the person is there for you always through thick and thin, then that's a true friend. It doesn't matter the when you talk, how you talk, which stage, but at every stage when you need somebody and the person is there with you by your side, supporting you, being there for you, that is a true friend.
Hey, Les, can I jump in there real quick?
Of course.
Yeah, I just want to say, a lot of times where people that match your energy, you tend to kind of you gravitate towards, or you kind of feel like it's an easy flowing kind of energy between people, people that match energies and have a way to talk, out a way to, just to kind of receive your messages, and you step into your authenticity. That's where that friendship with self comes from in my mind. And when you're just allowed to be yourself and felt received and kind of just completely don't even really have to bias yourself, or you have to struggle in communication, or you find yourself looking for words, it just kind of flows out of you. I find those are the connections that kind of, like Sujata was saying, like where the reality of it is those people tend to come back because they also feel it, and they show up, and they tend to put themselves through a little bit more for those kind of moments and those energies than others. So they tend to stay in your life longer, regardless of the BS that you might or they might interact independently. But that free flowing effort between people tends to release even those life things or biases that we put on ourselves, or that maybe, other people put on us. But our friends don't live in those moments because of that matched energy, that like-mindedness. I love that kind of vibe. I think Ginger was saying it too. So, but yeah, I just want to jump in there. Just that matched energy and communication tends to open that up a lot for people, and myself mainly, because I'm overactive. So I need it. Appreciate it. Bless.
Oh, you're welcome. And go ahead.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad that was brought up, because I think this discussion, and any discussion when we talk about friendship, needs to have those parameters of like, what is, what qualifies as that friend. Well, it has, and from what I just heard, and I definitely agree with what was just said, those true friends, like, man, when you're with them, you could like, just like really take just let out the exhale of all that stress, and you're not on edge. You don't have to worry about what you're saying as far as like, and I'm going back to, to younger years, but even now as adults, it's such a comfortable feeling. Like you could just be your true self, and they give you the opportunity to be that person. It's a no judge zone. It's freedom. It's having them to be able to come over to your house and see you at your worst. You could cry in front. Like there's no limitations on how you could be in front of them. I'll give you for instance too. My oldest daughter has a form of Tourette's. It comes in the form of a tic, and it can get loud sometimes. It's not the Tourette's that she doesn't blurt out words, but it's a tic, and it's Tourette's. And she has that group. She has that little posse of girlfriends that she knows that because she'll spend 99% of her time hiding that tic from almost everybody. And when she's with that group of girls, she knows that she can just let her shoulders down and just relax, and they accept her for who she is. And that's a sign of a good friend.
Yep. We spoke a little bit ago about, and I'm not sure who said it, and it might have been said a couple times, where time can pass. So I met somebody, his name's Mike Howard, and we met back in the late 80s, 1989, I believe. And the really cool thing about our friendship, it first came from, he was a manager of a bar and I was a liquor and wine rep. And I got the business, and he and I communicated. Then lo and behold, we spent time, and he introduced me to rollerblades, because his friend was Scotty Olson, the inventor of rollerblades here in Minnesota. And I had a pair of metal steel rollerblades, like one of the first pairs. And we used to hang out and rollerblade. And I think the farthest I've ever gone on rollerblades was with him one weekend. And we put on over 70 miles. And we spent a lot of time hanging out. And then he met a lady. And I met a lady, and life pulled us apart. He ended up getting married and moving to Florida. And I think that was in like 1994, 93. And I had not been down to see him. He had come back here once and we had connected, but we usually talk once or twice a year. Last year, I brought my wife, Kristen, and we stopped at his house. And when we hugged each other, it was as if time had stood still and we connected, as if no time had passed. The same things that drew us together in the beginning brought us together. And I would call him a true friend. And then I have friends that I've met and who came from across country to the wedding when I married Kristen. And I was blown away when he showed up and with his wife and kids. And I realized that I hadn't been relating to him the same way he related to me. And I think that's part of, and as we're getting close to our hour here, because this is a power hour, I want to say this. When I shared earlier about one of the things that I wanted to communicate inside of this room today, and what it is that we're dealing with, and how do we communicate? Am I a good friend? In that respect, I was not a good friend. I didn't even realize how much he considered me a friend, that he would come cross country with his family to our wedding. And now, we've definitely shifted that relationship based on that. But I know that there's times in my life, even though I think I'm a pretty good friend, I can look and see the times where I have let my friendship be lazy, copped an attitude of, well, fine, if you don't call me, then I'm never going to call you. And yet, when we started our friendship, I was the one that always called because I was the busy one. And that was part of how our friendship grew. And so when I didn't call, the first call I got was, "Are you okay?" And this is the part where, tomorrow, Sujata, I really want to dive into this, and I'm trusting that some of you, not all of you may not be able to come back tomorrow. I understand that. But over the next show tomorrow, I really want to look and see, have you caught yourself being the friend that you don't like and seeing why you were that way? Because to not like something, we have to know and have experienced it. So in that moment, for me, I got to experience the thought of, oh my gosh, I've been a terrible friend to this person, and clean it up. And what do I mean by cleaning it up? Acknowledge the fact that I was not the person that I say I want to be and I want people to be for me. I wasn't being that. I wasn't practicing, as some people say, I wasn't practicing what I was preaching. So with that, Sujata, I want to pass the mic to you.
Great. You've set the continuation of the topic for tomorrow, and that's going to be pretty deep. And I love that. So, looking forward to our next discussion. And thank you to everybody who took out time to share and to listen. Listening is very important, as I always say, a part of communication. You listen, you absorb, and you learn. So I thank all of you for being here.
So I'd love to just do a quick 30-second round robin, see if there's anything burning desire to say before we do the countdown to close the room. And prior to that, I'm just going to do a quick shout out to the people, Dr. Jessica, Reginald, Jay, Gavin, Sally, Muplang, and as the speakers. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate exactly what Sujata just said. Paitlin, is there anything you'd like to share before we close?
This has been a very interesting conversation because, about calling people. I'm not much of a phone person. I mean, I do text, but I do appreciate this because it's like that intimate connection. I do agree that, and I look at it like this, me being a friend with the Holy Spirit, how me and him connect together. It's much more powerful when you're just, you're truly connecting. And so I'm going to prayerfully try and be more of a phone person to where I take the initiative.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Paitlin. Byron, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to refer it back to myself and what you were mentioning about that little bit of awareness that comes with, the virtue of someone, putting you in the image a little bit further deep in friendship than you might have been aware of. And I love that vibe. That just means that you do have growth. And I always say the things that we go through with people, the adversities, the struggles, the happiness, the things that sit with us, those are growth. And people you share time with in growth, those become your friends, like it or not, because you become better at being your own friend. So that's where I would go, Coach. Thanks for the awareness. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Brother Joey.
Coach, great room. I am complete. I look forward to being here tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you. Sister Ginger.
This will be a test of our true friendship, Coach. I'm still trying to picture you on those rollerblades.
If you go to my Instagram, you'll find some reels way back at the beginning. You'll see me, and I'm on rollerblades doing reels on wheels.
I love it. I just want to thank you guys for this room. What time do you meet tomorrow? It sounds like an interesting room as well.
It'll be the same time. It'll be 4 o'clock Central Standard from 4 to 5 tomorrow.
If I missed a whole hour, I'm going to go back and catch the replays. I just want to leave with this. In all my studying and trying to really realize and discover how to be a true friend, studies actually showed that people that belong to a strong network, they live longer. It increases self-confidence, and just coming up here, it provides pretty much a much-needed emotional support as well. So I plan on being here tomorrow. I'm going to mark my calendar.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Ginger. And I just see a couple people popped into the room. Thank you so much for popping in. Hopefully you can catch the replay. If not the replay, you can come and see us tomorrow. And I'm going to do a quick outro here, and you'll hear a little music. And then I will do my countdown and my favorite little bit of destruction for the room on Clubhouse. But here we go. Here's a little bit of an outro for that you'll get to listen to from online.
Coaching with Les has doubled my practice.
We've increased our sales by about 33%, of blowing all of our goals out of the water.
In my first 6 months, I actually grew my business with his help over 500%. Literally 500%.
Les Hill is the type of person that invests back in you and back into your company. So if you're looking for a business coach with integrity, choose Les Hill.